Ready for takeoff.
We are cleared for takeoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time to take flight in your community and in your life. This is Audio Airstrike.
What's up, everybody? I'm Everett Hall-McNeill, and this is Audio Airstrike, episode 191. Thank you for joining us. I have a special guest with me at this time. He is a musician. He is an entrepreneur in a lot of ways, and now a proud father. Ladies and gentlemen, with me at this time, back again, I have Jon Garcia in the building. Hey, man, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. Welcome back.
Dude, I just gotta say, your introductions are awesome. Because every single time I have these introductions, I'm just man, it's another thing off the list. And it's it's not that I forget that I'm a dad. It's just I don't know. It's when when somebody gets married and they're like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm married. So it's it feels so surreal being a dad and stuff like that. But we just celebrated the week anniversary of that yesterday, so that was pretty cool.
Cool, congratulations, man. I definitely appreciate you, man. You know I always got to support. I'm glad you and the lady are doing well. Glad that the baby girl's doing well, and you know what I mean? That's all that matters at the end of the day. One of the biggest things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are great. They're in great healthy conditions. Phoenix is doing great. She has a bucket full of hair is the consistent theme. I've never seen a baby have this much hair, but she is great.
Yeah, it is definitely crazy that, because usually, babies get it's like thin hair at first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Almost bald. That's what I thought, because they say that a baby's hair is supposed to fall out and things like that. But I don't see this baby's hair falling out. I mean, given it's a week and stuff like that. But I just don't think that's that's definitely gonna be a thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So getting right down into it, this episode is called The Closer, and the reason why is because that is the same title of Dave Chappelle's infamous special in the series of specials that he's done over the years. And the reason being is because he has been knocking that out the park and has been very unapologetic and saying things that need to be said, not in a divisive way, but in my personal opinion, a united way. Now, because he has addressed the issues that he has had in terms of society, it has sparked backlash amongst a certain community. Now, the family of Daphne Dorman defends Dave Chappelle's comedy special, which drew the ire of not just people that dislike the special, but also affiliates of the LGBTQ community. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say this, and Jon, you are more than welcome to chime in.
Yeah.
If you are about equality, leave room for others to get educated, learn, and grow. The problem that I have with nowadays is when people have a movement, it's automatic cancel, it's automatic I'm going for the throat, it's automatic get the executioner. There is no middle ground. And if you want people to understand where you are coming from, there has to be an initial first space of middle ground. And when I look at this special, Dave Chappelle brought that to an attention, along with jokes.
Right.
We live in a world that is so drawn to the littlest thing that you say to cut ties with somebody. And what I mean by that, and let me even go deeper to clarify that, even if it's in the form of a joke, even if it's in the form of, look, I'm saying this for humor purposes. Yes, there is such thing as a classless joke. I've seen some, but what Dave did up there, I didn't see that. Me personally, I didn't see where he was being hateful, spiteful, dragging the community through the mud. I personally didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm going to take it also to this. There wasn't all this hoopla talking about canceling specials when he was making fun of black people. We were laughing right along with him. There was a quick cancellation when he was making fun of black people, and we were laughing along with him. But the second that somebody decides to crack a joke, and let me also say this, right? This is the hypocrisy that I don't like. This is the hypocrisy that will make a movement stop dead in its tracks. Daffy Dorman was a transgender person that Dave Chappelle supported, and let her get on that stage, fail, but come back and try to kill it. Every single time. He offered help, offered coaching, and all that type of stuff. Before she passed away in 2019 due to suicide, she went and defended a previous special that Dave Chappelle did. You want to know who was in her comments, tweeting a whole bunch of hateful stuff? People from that community. You want to know what she did a few moments after that? Or a few, I don't know if it was a few weeks or months. It was a suicide. And not a single person was called out for doing that to her. Not a single person. So we want to pick and choose when accountability is set in, or is it only for one side? I get tired of talking about this because it shouldn't be this way.
Right.
I have been very open. I have been very honest. And I've also been very, very accepting of people that don't necessarily think like me. But when I see stuff like this, and some folks then coming behind saying, well, we're about equality, and I'm seeing that, I'm like,
right.
Are you?
Right. Yeah, because like that just depends like what we're talking about. First thing, I just want to say that it's awesome that we're having this dialogue. Yeah, no, I think it's good that we're having this dialogue in this whole entire conversation, because that's really what this whole entire thing should be about. It should be about us both being objective. Like, just because like you believe this and I believe that, or we have maybe opposite points of views, as long as like we're willing to be open to criticism, like I think that's really what it boils down to. And I think it's just, it's weird, man, because it's like a couple years ago, I was like talking about this same like very particular thing, is like, especially like during the election and when Trump was elected and stuff like that. It's like, what is your intention? Is your intention just to shout and scream because everybody else is shouting and screaming? Are you saying this because the majority is saying this? Or do you firmly believe this? And I think that's like where things get like really confusing for really just everyone right now. And it's really an awesome time to be accepted for your point of view. I think there's a lot of like support in that and things like that. But not to get off topic or anything like that, but I just think like it really boils down to is like we need to have an open, objective conversation with one another with the fact that you could be wrong about something. And I think that's really what it boils down to. A lot of people, it's just a pride issue. It's like, oh, how dare you say that I'm wrong about this or that? And I just think that at least the way that I approach conversations and criticisms and things like that is that you're not right about everything. And you need to see something from a different person's perspective. But if you just have a biased point of view to where it's just like, nope, that's the only way, and this is the way that it will always be, I just don't think you have any business having an argument. And that's just my opinion. I feel like it's self-destructive. You just being there like, hey, I'm not going to take any criticism or try to grow from this situation. So you're just wasting time and wasting energy. And I just feel like that's the crossroads we're at as a country with politics and everything like that. It's like we're going to decide if we want to be divided as a people or we're going to be united as a nation. And the sad truth is like more so now than ever we're divided. And it's just because of that simple fact of us willing to have a conversation and being able to be like, you know what? I appreciate that point of view, but I don't agree with it. And the fact that you considered like that person's like point of view, that's like, okay, we can have more conversations and try to see things from other people's perspectives. And I just, man, like, we've talked about this more than once. I mean, it's just like, I am just not up with the cancel culture type of stuff. I see the benefits of it for sure. Like, I'm not saying like everything's right or anything like that, but like, I feel like there needs to be accountability on both ends, and you got to be in tune if you're being biased with your point of view too. I just like, that's just my opinion. I just feel like you always got to think about when you're saying something, how somebody else would feel about what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think what disturbs me is the fact that this was somebody of that community trying to make a living,
right?
Trying to do it, establish a dream. And to get criticized and cyberbullied by even people that she's in a part of that community with is reprehensible.
It's just many quick responses, man.
Yeah, it's this quick. It's and not mean to cut you off. It's this quick. Fine. It's this quick lashing of just insults and throwing shade at somebody that had a respectful response of disagreeing with people within our own community.
And like, dude, there's so many friendships that get ruined that way. Like, I could say that from personal experience. I mean, like, there are so many friendships that just get ruined that way, to where it's just like, hey, let's just take a second to breathe, bruh. You know what I mean? Like,
but people don't take a second to breathe. It's like,
Yep.
People don't even take time to read the room.
Right.
People don't even take time to have an articulate conversation and be like, well, from Dave Chappelle's perspective, are we acting like this? Do we have people that are acting like this? Is there some truth to what he's saying? Is it not all bullcrap? Like, let's do some self-accountability. Nobody wants to do no self-accountability. I've said this before. I'll say it a million times. Everybody pokes fun at the church about what the church does, the setbacks that the church has done. But the one thing that is happening right now within the church, and I would know because I've been a church kid all my life, is millennials are stepping up. They are righting the wrongs of what generations have done in the past. And they still don't get no grace.
Yep.
In a lot of conversations. So now you fast forward to this. This woman, this trans woman, literally got bullied on Twitter for standing up and saying, look, I get why people are upset, but I disagree with what they're saying about Dave. And I disagree with what they're saying about that special.
Right.
And that was not, and we're not talking about the closer, we're talking about the previous special before the closer. And then she passes away in 2019. You don't think that all that crap had an effect on her? That led her to that? Right. And that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, I'm not with but this also, PC
like,
stuff.
Let me say this. Like, but I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me say this about Dave Chappelle. Like, we also know Dave Chappelle is like, he's snarky within, like, he's looking for a reaction. But I think, like, that's his MO too at the same time. I mean, that's Dave Chappelle all in all. I mean, like, he's always...
I have to give you some pushback on that. I'm going to tell you why, right?
Okay.
Dave is the Tom Brady of comedy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
It's like this, right? He is a surgeon with this. He is a storyteller. He will bring stuff back around and give you a moral of the story.
Oh, yeah.
And if you pay attention to the laughs, you will catch the moral of the story. And part of the laughs is, I'm going to poke fun at you guys, but it's in a playful way. I'm not trying to gaslight nobody.
Right.
Dave Chappelle back in the day wasn't gaslighting the black community.
Yep.
We got the jokes and laughed with him.
Right. It's like George Lopez type of stuff, man. I mean, we all know we go through this stuff. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, everybody. If you grew up a certain way, like if Dave Chappelle said, "Look, this was me growing up in D.C." and he started making fun of it, a lot of people locally in D.C. would be like, "Yo, that was funny as hell," because I remember, because it's similar experiences within D.C. and that is what he's trying to do. He's a surgeon. And he's a surgeon and a storyteller when it comes to this stuff. And he's not sitting over here being malicious and trying to gaslight people.
Right.
That's not what he tries to do. Is it edgy? Yeah, there's edgy. It's comedy. Comedy is edgy. Deal with it.
But that's the point. Like, the point of it is to like spur a reaction, like that. That's the point of it. But also with respect and consent. He's not going out there and like being totally disrespectful to somebody. And
he's not calling people out their name.
But he's also at the same time don't diminish this. Like, and I know you're not, but I just want to be clear on it. I think a lot of times he's trying to stir that dialogue and conversation, and and that's the point of being an entertainer. That's the point. At least it should be. Like, you have the platform to be able to challenge like our nation's thoughts. You get what I'm saying, man? Like, why would you not use that platform? Now, do I think that other people abuse it? Of course. But do I think he's playing a good middle ground? Heck yeah. He's doing a great job. He's been doing a great job at it for years. In my opinion, he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I can still watch, like, don't get me wrong. There are some triggering stuff with like old Dave Chappelle, like shows and stuff like that, like way back in the day. But that was kind of Dave's point. It's like, hey, like, this is where we're from, and we can laugh about it. And I think that's just been Dave's intention this whole entire time. But I just think we talk about this all the time, Everett, and I don't want to get too off topic, but like, I just think there are three different types of people, you know? I just feel like there are people like me and you who can be like, okay, that was messed up, and let's talk about it. Let's try to learn from this situation. There are people that are biased towards this side or that side, or you're just a man-hating extremist. And it's a hard line. I mean, it like, I thought things back then, 10 years ago, were hard. You know what I mean?
I look at it this way. You can be all those things, but you are going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. And I'm going to say this straight on the camera. Whoever sent them hateful tweets to Daphne Dorman on Twitter, and that pushed her to doing that,
right?
Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. And that's blood on y'all's hands for doing that to her. Y'all know y'all wrong. Y'all know y'all wrong. Y'all know, I ain't got to say who it is. We know who it is.
Right.
We have an idea who it is. We can look up old tweets and figure out who's the users that was doing this. We know y'all are wrong for that. And y'all need to be held accountable. I'm tired of this cyberbullying. I don't care whose sexual orientation if it is. Right. I don't care who is it. I don't care who it is. I don't care where they come from. If we catch that, and if it was done out of pure hate, it'd be one thing if it was roasting, like playful joking around, comedic style. But if it was straight hate,
right,
that level of cyberbullying should not be tolerated. That's got to be held accountable, man. And we definitely need to hold that accountable. And yeah, man, I just want to switch this last statement. Shout out to Dave Chappelle for sparking these conversations for happening. Because if it didn't happen, you guys would still be being divisive. You guys would still be hateful. You guys would still be tribalistic if he didn't sit over there and spark those conversations. Because sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, they ain't going to listen to an ordinary Mo like me. They're going to have to listen to a Dave Chappelle. Right. And that's the bottom line.
Can I just say this? I mean, we can go on this tangent forever. I mean, like, where social media is at, the age that we're in, and things like that.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go to a long diatribe about it.
And I'm not gonna go down that whole entire like train or anything like that. But I just feel like, to your own point, Everett, I think that, like, first thing, I don't think a lot of people know what accountability is, one. and two, I don't feel like people actually know the community that they're actually creating. Because if anything, I think there's more cyberbullying than ever. And it's to actually creating a new age of depression. And it's like, that's a thing that like I just don't understand. Is like there's so many people that are like, oh yeah, mental health, mental health, mental health, and it's like, do you actually know what that means? Have you done the research for that? Have you are you actually making the steps to actually create a community for that? And it just feels like nowadays it's like people want to actually just do something that's trending towards hating and knocking on somebody rather than helping somebody. And that's just pushing our world back. And that's my last comment. I just feel like people just don't know a lot of things and they're just reacting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So we're going to switch gears here and talk about Tyson Fury, who defeated Deontay Wilder over the weekend. Okay. Tyson Fury defeated Deontay Wilder in the third fight. So with that being said, Tyson Fury goes up to try to shake Deontay Wilder's hand based on what Tyson Fury, this is all based on what Tyson Fury said. He said he tried to shake Deontay Wilder's hand in sportsmanship. Wilder was like, no, I don't respect you. And he refused to shake Tyson Fury's hand. Now, I'm just going to be honest. This is allegedly. I didn't see if that exchange happened. Right. But this is what I'll say. If you lose to somebody, and they have enough character to walk up to you and said, hey, man, you gave me a good fight or gave me a good competition or something like that, it would be within your best interest to shake that person's hand. Now, Tyson Fury did comment on this and saying, I hope his heart changes. I hope God changes his heart or something along the lines. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I don't like, it was kind of a little bit disheartening. And, you know, I hope God changes his heart in that regard. That's what Tyson Fury said after that exchange. Now, there's a couple things that we have to understand, folks. And I'm just saying this in general. Being a good sportsman shows a level of humility. I think he should have shown humility. I think that when you go into something with too much pride, it will hurt your legacy rather than help it. Yep. And I also think that the sportsmanship gesture that Fury did made his win even look more deserved. And I hate to say this, down the line, it may make Deontay Wilder look like more of a bad guy and a villain. Somebody you don't want to root for.
I just think it's trashy. That's just my opinion.
And
I just think it looks trashy. It's just when it's like, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but it's just like, it's just street culture, man. It's just like, screw that. Let's move on. And you're not going to have a career that way. I mean, like, you're just not. I mean, like, how many times Conor McGregor's been laid out and things like that, but he's still a great sportman. I mean, like the greats, man. Like that joke of a fight.
Well, we can argue about Conor, but go on.
Oh yeah. No. We're on the same point of view, like about Conor McGregor.
Conor's a little different.
But I'm not gonna say he has a legacy. But what I am gonna say is that he has a name and that he has always been a good sportsman. For the most part. But not like, lately. Yeah, not lately. But like, but for the majority of his career, he has done that. And like, and I was gonna make a joke about the Logan Paul fight. I mean, like, even Logan Paul was good sport.
I don't even want to bring them boys up. I don't even want to bring them up. I'm sick of it. We will not be covering them for the rest of the.
No, that's fine.
Let this be a disclaimer. I really don't want to cover them.
Right.
I just really don't want to cover them right now.
Right. No, and that's another tangent. But like, my whole entire point is this. Is like, look, man. Like, I just feel like, and I think it should just be really this one. Let's move on to the next topic. Like, that's just trashy, man. Like, that's just trashy. That like literally looks like, I don't know. It's just like, for me, it's like, all right, cool, moving on. Like, you didn't do anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I will say this. It does make the acts by Tyson Fury, it makes him look more likable. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, he got the last, you know, laugh in the end, but still had grace and humility to go over there and try to shake that man's hand. So, I mean, kudos to him for doing that. It's one of them things, man. I wish them both. Honestly, I wish them both nothing but the best. I think Deontay Wilder showed some heart. I just think he needs to, go back to the drawing board, figure out what he wants to do, and figure out ways of moving forward. No hate against him, but like, yeah, if you didn't show good sportsmanship, like you got to grow in that. You got to grow in some type of humility. You don't want to go out like that.
And dude, platform. I mean, platform. Yeah. I mean, you have the like I'm not trying to be the dad here or anything like that, but I'm just like, you got the platform to like how many like kids are watching you or adults or whatever, and you're showing that example, and it's just like, dude, come on, like this isn't just like a street fight. This is not just like a local type of thing. This is on national, like this is national, man. And so you're still on TV and things like that, and you have a responsibility to your common man. You know what I'm saying? And and that's the other thing, that why I call it trashy, is because it's like, yo, so the only person you cared about was yourself. You didn't see that, like, hey, like I have an accountability to my audience and to my fans to be the better person in this situation. And like, yeah, I may sound intense and serious there, but like, that's the platform that you're on. That's the stage that you're on. Yeah, dude, some of the greatest fighters of all time, especially like in the 80s, man, had some of their biggest defeats. And like, they were just able to take it as a man. And I'm not trying to put that culture type of thing, but it's just like they were able to take it, and it was able to motivate them to be the best person that they were, and they were able to come back. And people respect that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. This is our Take Flight Talk, formerly known as Friendly Fire, where we discuss topics that are in a couple sentences or less. Now, with that being said, let's get to our first topic. Biden approval rating falls to 38%, people. This is all I got to say. You force vaccinations. You don't do nothing you're going to say for black people. This is what you get. An approval rating that is going down to 38%. And by the way, I just want to reiterate this. His approval rating among independents had dropped from 62% in July to 38% in September. And that's a lot. And in my personal opinion, also, I will say this is a hot take. You only get a 4-year term. People do not like having their lives being forced, their livelihood being taken, especially with these vaccination mandates where federal employees have got to choose between getting the vaccine or being without a job. That's ridiculous. So with that being said, John, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree. I'm surprised it was 38. I thought it would be like 22 or 24. I don't think that Biden is the same person that he was when he was doing the campaign. So fantastic job of like getting elected. The pitch was great. Like the pitch was freaking great. So that's all I had to say about that. He is not the same person that he was during his campaign to who he is in office. And it's a shame, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking amazing, man. It's one of those situations where, man, you know, I was trying to be positive, see what happens, but after the way it's going, they need to get that man up out of office, man. He's
fantastic pitch. Fantastic job. I mean, like his marketing was absolutely phenomenal, but like,
yeah, but he failed to execute.
Oh, now I'm being sarcastic. I'm being completely sarcastic and passive.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Yeah, the sales pitch was good. Marketing was good for the most part. Execution, terrible. With that being said, I want to get to the Mark Cuban versus Cole Beasley argument. Basically, Mark Cuban, who is vaccinated, basically said, look, it's not about you. Cole Beasley was like, look, if you don't like the fact that I'm unvaccinated, just keep your distance and get away from me. This is my choice. In my personal opinion, we got to stop. This is a message to everybody that's vaccinated. This is all I'm going to say about this. Can y'all stop villainizing people that are not vaccinated?
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
if that's their choice, that's their choice.
Right.
And leave it alone. It's getting ridiculous now. Like, I shouldn't have to be treated like a freaking criminal because I decide not to get the vaccine.
Bro, that's that extremeness culture, bro. That's what I'm telling you. Like,
so this is how I feel about it, right? If you choose to get vaccinated, cool. if you choose not to get vaccinated, cool.
Yep.
But I shouldn't have my livelihood threatened or be treated like a criminal. That is something that I don't subscribe to.
I think that's
just
where
my opinion.
I think that's where, I'm sorry to interject, but that's where I feel like the dialogue is wrong. I feel like this is where I stand, man, and I have this conversation, especially with having a new baby and stuff like that, because like the baby's immune system is not covered until like the very like 6 months to a year. Yep. So you just got to be careful. I mean, me and Denver are learning those lessons right now, and just to practice our precautions and things like that. And me and Denver are diabetic. I mean, like she's pre-diabetic. I have type 2 diabetes, and it runs pretty thick in my family and stuff like that. And I believe with the whole COVID thing, if the percentages aren't wrong, diabetes is number 1 on the list, and it's only a 1% chance of surviving. So where I stand with like all this stuff is like, first, you got to do your research with anything. I feel like you really shouldn't have anything to be scared of if you protect your body. But if you're having like freaking McDonald's every single day, like you're asking to die. Like at least like you gotta be in tune with that type of stuff. Like, and this is where I'm talking about extremeness culture. Like extremeness / like just immediate reaction type of stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get the vaccination. I'm just saying you just got to know the choices that you make. But at the same time, this is where I stand. Like that one person's choice to not get a vaccination, that's their responsibility and choice. And you shouldn't like basically put down those people and be like, oh, dude, screw you. You shouldn't be doing this and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, that's your opinion, but that's the choice that they made. And that's just it. I don't think it's nothing more, nothing less. Now, hear me out. Like, I feel like you definitely need to practice your precautions, ask those questions, see if that person has been sick. I think it's been more of like a trending thought, because it's like, we live in unknown times, man. I mean, like, that's the thing. Is like everybody wants an answer for this COVID thing. That's the problem. Everybody wants an answer for this thing, and not even the professionals have an answer. Like, shit.
And the vaccine does not guarantee you to be immune from COVID. I know people have gotten the vaccine that are still catching it. So, like, do what you can. Like, do the best you can to use certain precautions, but don't be villainizing people back and forth. And that goes on both sides, all right? So, in my opinion, that's why I stand on it. I'm going to kind of get out of this, the Take Flight Talk, formerly known as Friendly Fire segment, and we are going to switch to Squid Game. Now, I'm not going to go into the storyline. I'm not going to go into the characters. I'm not going to do a whole review. What I will say is this. In my personal opinion, and this is me as a creative, you don't need a big name to have a hit show anymore.
Yeah,
you just don't.
True. That is true.
You don't need a big name to have a hit show. And as long as people focus on the storytelling, the acting, the compelling growth of the character in the world that they are in, you will have a compelling story that grabs people. That is what you're getting with Squid Game. Don't be surprised Halloween come around. You see a bunch of people in Squid Game costumes. I'm probably going to end up buying one, because this right here is going to be and is on track to be one of the most successful episodic series in Netflix history. And this guy, let me tell you something about this guy. This guy had been shipping this. I mean, and I don't have his name in front of me, and I wish I did, but due to technical difficulties, I didn't get to it. Now, the man and the creator that did this, that wrote Squid Game, was rejected for 10 years by different multiple big name studios. Had to sell his laptop for $600 and some. This was all in like 2009. It's 2021. And he now is the creator and writer of one of the most successful episodic series on Netflix. There is no big name attached to this show. Not one. This is what you get when you focus on the storytelling, when you focus on the characters, and when you focus on just telling a compelling story to get audiences invested. This is what you get. John, what are your thoughts?
I haven't had a chance to see it. I've been wanting to watch it because, like, right when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Whoa, this is actually really cool." I just think it's a testament to the times that we live in. I would say, like, at least within the last 15 years, just how, like, Netflix has provided a platform for exactly that. Like, you literally can just drop something. You don't need, like, so much support, or you don't need an agency, or you don't need, like, a label or somebody backing you. I mean, there's so much opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, you can just create a film. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just create a film and things like that tomorrow. Like, you got to do your homework. But, like, dude, it is just, like, it's just a huge testament to the times that we live in, that anything is achievable. And I will say, like, with a person that used to do, like, these types of things and stuff like that, again, it requires a lot of work and dedication and time. But man, hats off to this guy and just getting his chance. Like, I'm actually going to do some research on this guy. Do you know any more information on this guy?
That's all the information I know. We will have links in the description about the creator of the Squid Game, just for everybody to look up information on this guy, and also following him whatever he does next, because I'm interested to see what he's going to come up with and create. Even if they do a second season of Squid Game, I think he deserves the proper flowers for what he has done.
It seemed really compelling. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, the story seemed really, really phenomenal. I just want to comment on this. I think the other reason why I think the ages are changing too, because, like, it's like, I don't know, like 20 years ago, like, when you wanted to watch a movie or, like, a primetime movie, you would have to go to the movie theaters and, like, get your popcorn and all that stuff. And, like, the fact that, like, I just watched a documentary, me and Denver just watched a documentary on Blockbuster. And, like, how Blockbuster, like, how the times have just changed so much, and how you could literally just go to Blockbuster and, like, that was just a thing to do and stuff like that. And just watching that, I'm like, man, times have changed. Netflix has been around for a while. Like, they were innovators in their own product. And I don't know if you know this, Everett. I don't know if you saw this documentary, but it was really dope. Is like Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix.
Oh yeah, I remember that story. Boy, that was the biggest mistake they did.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's just like, and again, I think it's just a testament to where times are nowadays. And I think, and I was talking to Phil about this, Phil Freeman from Small Town Titans, a while ago. I just think movie theaters are going to go out of business. That's my personal opinion. I really do.
See, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Okay.
I just think, because I think people are always going to want to get out the house and do something.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't think they're going to go out of business. Now, do I think that the model of the movie theater is changing? Yes, I do.
Yep.
I do think that people still want to get out the house. I think they're just willing to pay for the experience rather than just pay for the movie strictly. So if you have a business that you do drive-in movie theaters, the ambiance, the experience, the type of food that you have is going to be worth the price. If you do a Cine Bistro, it is going to be worth the price. Now, if you do an episodic series, here's where they may want to pivot. If somebody starts hosting parties, I'm talking like for episodic series, like the second that it drops, you do like a festive party and then you binge watch, like maybe halfway, or maybe take a couple of days where one day they binge watch half the season and then the next day they binge watch the other half, and get people together to watch. that could be a nice deal, and that could be a nice experience. Yeah, I think
that's why Game of
that.
Thrones was such a popular thing, is because
until they dropped the ball.
Yeah, right. Last season was trash. I know it's an unpopular viewpoint, but that's my point of view.
No, it's a very popular viewpoint. It's a very popular viewpoint. You know what I mean? It's
trash.
I ain't gonna get into all that. They dropped the ball with the last season.
Yes, they did.
But yeah, shout outs to everybody that was a part of the crew and cast of Squid Game. And we definitely on this podcast, maybe in a couple weeks, I will do a Squid Game review from a creative standpoint, and also from a storytelling standpoint, and get some fans on here that want to discuss Squid Game. With that being said, I want to switch to our last topic, and our last topic is this. It's very educational. We're going to be very therapeutic and deep about this. And the topic is people thinking they are bigger than what they really are. I'll start off and say this, folks. This whole thing of fake it till you make it, in my opinion, is complete and utter trash. I don't think that's a very lucrative way of getting to the top. I don't think that's a very beneficial way of getting to the top. People want generosity. They want to be around genuine people. If we are not seeing that, we don't want to be around it. You have to be genuine. You have to be honest, because at the end of the day, like I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We're getting to a point where generations of mine and younger are getting tired of the trolling, getting tired of people thinking they're bigger than what they are. We tired of the arrogant behavior. We tired of sitting around over here, got to put up with people's attitude. It's too much. We just want genuine people in our circle, in our corner, that are going to either help us, educate us, and help us facilitate our dreams. Or at least, if you may not be knowledgeable in that, at least encourage us along the way. And if you're in a position where you are creative, or you're doing something, or you don't need to be in the creative art space, if you're just doing whatever you're doing, stop with the Napoleon complex. Stop with the inferiority complex, where you have to do something to set the tone that you are bigger and better and badder than everybody else.
Yep. Nobody
likes the bully in high school. Nobody likes the bully in middle school. Even if the bully has an entourage, the only reason that entourage is around them is for safety. If I'm around him, I don't have to worry about being clowned on, because I'm seeing everybody else get clowned on. So I'm going to just be around him and just partake in what I got to do. That's what's going on in a bunch of different industries right now. That is what's going on in a lot of times in the creative space. Like, we have to move and think and act in a certain level of humility, in a certain level of humbleness. Let me tell you something, folks. I'll use myself as an example because I don't want to use anybody else as an example. I've done a lot of podcast episodes. Am I where exactly I want to be? Not right now, but I'm working to get there.
Yep.
That is transparency and honesty. That's where we're at. That's what needs to be done. And I don't understand, and I think it's a pride issue. I think it's an ego-driven thing, why more people can't be that way. I'm just at a loss, because it's like at some point you have to be honest with yourself, look in the mirror and be like, okay, can I just be honest with myself for a minute? And if you can't do that, then you got some serious heart issues that you need to figure out. I can't stand it when people think they're bigger than what they really are. You have to get yourself out of cloud nine, get yourself out of cloud nine and come back to earth. You can't do that. And the scary thought about that is some people are incapable of coming down from cloud nine and bringing themselves down to a ground level, not for a status, but just to get some clarity and know where you're going. Some of y'all are in the clouds and don't know how to navigate through the skies like that.
Yep.
You think you do, but you don't. And then when you almost get ran into by another plane, you wonder why you experiencing turbulence.
Yep.
Because you don't know what you're doing. You sit over here and you think that stepping on people is the way to go in society until you fall down and now you don't want to get stepped on because you didn't stepped on multiple people and robbed them of their livelihood and manipulated them and lied to them and told them or made them feel like that they would be nothing without you. How are you supposed to leave a legacy with that type of dirt on your name? How are you supposed to have people inspired by you with that type of dirt on your name?
100%. Yep.
Your respect is finite if you move that way. It's too easy in society to look at something and go, you know what, screw that. I'm going to do it this way. It's too easy in society to step on people and to play with people's emotions. It's too easy because in this country, that's what you taught. In this country, they educate you in that.
Right.
In this country, they have people scout other people to do that. We're not taught to be collaborative at first. That takes time and maturity. We're taught to be selfish if you come from the United States. I'm not taking back what I said. I said what I said. This is what we're taught here. I don't like it. My family personally don't like it. That's why they taught us to collaborate and work with each other.
Yep.
But in the event that you are in that position where you are collaborating and working with other people, you better make sure you got respect for everybody. Because I'm telling you right now, nobody gets to where they get to. You look at the billionaires, the millionaires, the people that always talk about their money, always talk about their status. They got there because somebody opened up the door for them, because somebody made a way for them.
Yep.
Either two things happened. Either they appreciated their OG or they stepped on their OG.
Mm.
And there's no shade of gray with that. So when you decide what you want to do and what you call to do, you better check out all these things. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people out here that think that they are bigger than what they are, and they don't walk around with humility. Some of y'all forgot when y'all didn't have two nickels to rub together. Some of y'all really forgot. Y'all got in a state of position when somebody's trying to reach out, just looking for guidance, looking for coaching, just looking for like just a word of encouragement. Some of y'all don't even read DMs. Some of y'all don't even comment back. Y'all don't even drop videos to help 50 people out.
Right.
Some of y'all don't sit on panels and give game away because you worried about the next man beating you out of your position. What type of selfishness is that?
Yep.
There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of things and plenty of stuff for everybody to take their piece of the pie and eat. But you decided to take that route and drink the Kool-Aid of selfishness, capitalism, the toxic side of capitalism, and everything else is in between. And God forbid you get a mentor, because I'm not sure if depending on where your morals are, I'm not even sure if you're going to treat them right.
Right. No, I agree, Everett. Do you mind if I comment?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, my whole comment is, like, shoot, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while. Something me and you have been talking about last 4 years, I'd say. Figuring it out. You know what I mean? In both of our careers and stuff like that. And I think, like, I don't know. I get maybe it comes with being older and going through experience and stuff like that. But just to start this thing out, I always go back to like just the actor that comes to mind when I think who does this really well is George Clooney. It's just, if you think about his career and everything that he's done to the point of where he's at, he's still prominent. He's still prominent. He's still well respected, and he's classy. And he always stands up for what he believes. He's not going to let anybody tell him what he believes, but he does it in a very respectful way. But he also knows his own lane, and he knows where he's valued and stuff like that. And he's not cocky about it. He's classy. And I always boiled down to that example of George Clooney, because I could go with the same thing with Denzel Washington. Same thing. Still has had a career. How many years now? It's been a while.
It's over like probably a 30, 40-year career.
Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, like, there are so many like prominent actors. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is an old man. Like, like a lot of people don't realize that. And he has still had a prominent career. And the reason why is because he has a selective amount of people that he trusts. And he gets personal with. And I think everybody's process is different for sure. And I know Bruno Mars does the same thing. But my whole entire point is just like, I just feel like when you're going about like this whole entire career and everything like that, you just got to accept you're always a learner. You're always a learner. You always got to be willing to grow, and you always got to be willing to like take criticism, dude. And it's like, just because you had a successful like 2 or 3 years, that doesn't mean like you know everything. I mean, I've gone to that whole entire lesson and everything like that. My whole entire thing is this, because I have been that person to where I've been like, yeah, I had a successful career and this was awesome. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but what are you doing now? And I feel like if you're overcompensating for something that you did years ago, and you're still compensating for those things, and your stuff was like maybe 10 years ago and it's not prominent now, you're doing something wrong.
Yep.
Like, your own clients should be like, I'm not trying to speak for anyone or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, your own clients should be speaking for themselves. Like, a successful product is when it's an inner beast of its own. You know what I'm saying? Or an experience was an inner beast of its own. I mean, like, with me working with Josh, I mean, like, with recording and stuff like that, and my band Jon Garcia and Hopeless Romantics, I mean, like, I had to take the approach about 3 years ago that, like, I was never going to have the most consistent lineup. I was never going to have the same 4 members or 3 members, but that it was always going to be me. And once I figured that out, and I figured out a process of people that I could trust, and things that were quick and consistent and stuff like that, and people who weren't cocky and overcompensating or anything like that, that's when things started to move forward. And I just feel like at the end of the day, your authenticity is going to speak volumes. And I think that's the problem that, like, it's so easy to have success, right? It's so easy to be a fresh face, but it's like, how do you carry that career for the next like 30 years? Because the reality of it is that you're going to get older, and your dreams are going to change, and your life's going to change, and you're going to have new challenges, and you're going to make a lot of sacrifices. And I feel like the person that you didn't want to be, you're going to be evolving to, if you still are overcompensating for something that you used to do. And that's my thing, is like is how you stay prominent is by basically moving forward. And like, yeah, that's logical, but a lot of people just don't live their lives that way. Like, they're just like, oh, all the success I had and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, bro, if you're the only person that's talking about your success, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like there's a problem there. And I just feel like you gotta be in tune with that. Like and you also gotta be in tune with who you're working with. And I feel like that creates that environment. That's why I stripped my community that I was a part of. That's why I stripped a lot of the people that I was working with, because it was benefiting them, but it wasn't a mutual thing to where it was like we were working together. And I think like that's the biggest thing is like, I think a lot of people waste their time in expecting that things are going to be moving forward. You know what I mean? Like moving forward, and they have their best interests. But the reality is we live in a selfish society, and I think you got to be in tune with those things. And I think that's something you grow in and stuff like that. But you got to be responsible for those things too. But I agree with you, Everett. I just think that like I just always go back to Denzel Washington and George Clooney and those guys that are like, how old are those guys? Like in their 60s or 50s now?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
I mean, they're still at like class A, like actors.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, you could go to Tom Hanks and it's just like he's still doing his thing. And it's just like, and they deserve it. I mean, at the end of the day, they deserve it for the efforts that they've done.
Well, it's not just and I gotta stay away from the entertainment industry. It's just
sure.
When it comes to whatever you are doing as a career, whatever you're doing in life as a person,
right?
You have to walk in it with some form of humility, and also know that you are the one that does not know everything.
Yep.
A smart person hangs out with people that is smarter than him.
Yep.
A selfish person will hang out with dumb people, will hang out with people that doesn't, think any less of themselves to make themselves feel smarter or feel better than other people. That's not the way you should be going.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong. If I'm in the room with somebody that knows more about film and video than me, I don't get intimidated. I said, I can learn from this person. That's the approach you should have. That is the approach that you should do. But some people with the ego and pride, and it's annoying, if I see it, I don't deal with it. I stay away from it. I don't have to put that in my space. It's out. So my thing is this, man. Some of y'all really gotta humble yourselves and really just get down to what you want, and also understand that you're not bigger than what you think. I don't care what status do you have.
Well, the biggest thing there ever is like what I was saying from before, and I just want to be very, very key on this. It's like, this is not a conversation of somebody saying like, you're wrong, wrong, wrong. You're right, right, right. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is like, what we were initially talking at the beginning of this podcast is about being able to create a dynamic and a conversation, a community to where we can have an open conversation to where everyone can be accountable for their points of views and being able to willing to admit that you're wrong about a situation. Now, what I also mean by that is that like you got to be in tune with if you're being super negative and super critical. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I feel like that's so crucial because I always go back to just encouragement, man. It's a gift. It really is, man. And it's just like, you got it. Like, that's what me and you do, Everett. We're always encouraging each other. We're always so proud of each other. Like, it don't matter, like, if you're just doing a little thing. I'm just stoked for you because there's a love there. There's an authenticity there. And that's what I'm talking about, creating a community. And like that. And just, I'm being clear about this one. I cut out anybody that wants to be malicious, that's passive aggressive, and that their intention is basically for them and themselves. My whole entire thing is just like, you got to be blunt with what you want, but also you want to surround yourself around people that are just as stoked as you are to create the things that you're doing, instead of them just being like, oh, well, you're just another client that's just paying my bills. And I just hate that mentality. I hate the mentality of just being like, yeah, you may be really good at what you're doing, but you're going to really push a lot of people out of the way. It may not be right now. because I've gone through it. It may not be right now, but it will be in the next 4 or 3 years. Pushing people away and saying you're the most important, brightest person in the room. And then you're going to be alone.
Yeah, and sometimes people have to figure out that out the hard way. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where the second you're alone, you know you messed up. And that's pretty much the end, the bottom line. You know what I mean? But hey, we're going to get out of here. Jon, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. I definitely appreciate you. If there's anything you want to plug, you have the floor.
Yeah, man, there is a lot to plug. Can I take a second?
Go ahead.
All right, give me a second. I looked like I was in The Sixth Sense. I really did.
This goofball.
I looked like I was in The Sixth Sense or something like that. Yeah, just go ahead and ask me again so we can take it from there.
Well, with that being said, you have the floor. Go ahead and tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, life's awesome right now. I mean, like we said, like me and Denver, my girlfriend, just had our first beautiful baby girl, Phoenix, who we're really stoked about. Just send prayers our way. We're being new parents and figuring out new things. We are really excited about that. Things with Jon Garcia and Hopeless Romantics are absolutely awesome. I mean, like, we're shaping up to have probably one of the best years that I created this band. We have our next single, Jingle Bell Rock, which is a cover that's going to be dropping on Thanksgiving, which we're really, really, really stoked about. We're going to be recording next month in November, right when we release that. This is actually a surprise, Everett. You don't know about this. We're going to be dropping another single with our friend Miss Taylor Tote. What are you doing New Year's Eve? So we're really, really stoked about that. Then we have another song that we're going to be dropping in February for Valentine's Day, a song called No, with Mr. Noah Altoff. And then in May, we're going to be dropping the Kiss Kiss EP. So we're the whole year is shaping out to be a really, really a good one. And just a reminder, we're in the middle of like doing a music video for Forget It with Mr. Everett Hall-McNeill. And so it's insane, man. I mean, life is really, really insane right now. With having a baby, working on music, me at Denver being a hairstylist and doing her own career and stuff like that. And so I just want to thank everyone for their support of this single and everything like that. And I want to give a huge shout out to Josh Engel of Native Studios. He is just awesome, and he's been a huge part of that. And lastly, Mr. Noah Altoff, he has been absolutely awesome. So we love everybody that's been a part of our whole entire team. So yeah, there's that.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, thank you, Jon, so much for coming on. This has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. Make sure that you watch our full episodes on YouTube and also check us out, the audio version, of course, of this platform, which is the total basis of this podcast, on every podcast platform that you can find it. Make sure you can find it under the name Audio Airstrike. Well, with that being said, I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. This is another edition of Audio Airstrike. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back.